Monday, September 5th, 2022. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. Extreme heat continues over the desert Southwest over the next couple of days. It will be continuing, and it has been there for the past couple of days. Those monsoon winds bringing the moisture and the higher dew points are not in place for this heat wave. The temperature at one weather station in Death Valley, Furnace Creek, California, hit 127 degrees. That thermometer, however, tends to be a couple degrees too warm. The official high is more likely going to end up being 124 degrees, which is still perhaps the hottest temperature ever recorded in September. 127 certainly would be the hottest temperature ever recorded in September for the world in the official records. Unofficially, there's been reports of temperatures much hotter than that. Temperatures in Fresno, California, Central California, well into the hundreds, 100 and teens are common and will continue. In fact, temperatures will continue to rise over the next couple of days for many of those locations in the desert Southwest. San Francisco, California reports that high temperature today so far, 94 degrees, the record 96 degrees, normal high 70 degrees. That's for San Francisco. Intense heat is across many locations in the Pacific Northwest, including Boise, Idaho, Billings, Montana, even into southern Canada as well. North Dakota and South Dakota, temperatures upper 90s. Many areas are going to come very close to breaking records across Colorado. Not sure about Kansas, but you head up north to South Dakota, places like there. Wednesday, probably there's Nebraska for sure. And then Thursday, any area which is still within this intense heat Thursday, which by Thursday, this heat is moved east. The heat is moving east. It's headed into the Midwest. Certainly western portions of the Midwest. Those locations will still be under the influence of this intense heat Thursday. Those areas will see record-breaking temperatures. Record-breaking temperatures, not even close. Temperatures across the desert Southwest, the forecasts are 5 degrees higher than what the records are. Many of those records are from a very, very long time ago, especially the year 1904. That year in particular, for some of the western states, day after day, those records were set in 1904. Here's something which I found to be very interesting. Perhaps if I lived in Los Angeles, it wouldn't be as interesting. I really don't know, but the temperature hit 98 degrees Sunday, now that is very hot. That's very hot. But the way in which it did it, if you go to the windy.com, which has the report of the weather history from the official weather station at the airport, you'll see Sunday morning's temperatures soared up to 98 degrees. On the chart, it's hard to tell exactly at what time that happened, but 9 o'clock was too early. It happened after 9, but before noon, probably around 10 a.m. Then you see a wind shift. Winds become west and temperatures drop, but the humidity rises. Dew points rise into the lower 60s. Temperatures start rising again, but the temperature dropped a solid 8 degrees or so. Temperatures drop to about 90, and they start rising again in the afternoon. That's just at the airport. There probably were locations. I know at the ball game, they reported a temperature of 98 degrees then, and that was not in the morning. That was much later in the afternoon. Sizzling heat reported in Las Vegas, Nevada of 110 degrees. Now, here is, this is all very nice and everything. Numbers. So far on this podcast, I've only spoken about numbers. People could say, what's the big deal? Okay, so it's 120, 110. The bottom line is, we're in September. California actually a lot of times receives its hottest temperatures Some locations, Los Angeles, sometimes get their hottest temperatures in September. There's some areas, due to the Santa Ana winds, they get their hottest temperatures sometimes in the month of September. But here is what's unique. This is something unique. It's actually something in the forecast. It has not happened yet. How do heat waves break up? We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. How do the heat waves come to an end? They don't come to an end because of some Arctic front. They don't come to an end because solar insolation is decreasing. Not because the days are getting shorter. It's certainly not the mechanism. One main mechanism is to have a tropical storm or preferably a hurricane come and demolish the high pressure ridge, and then it just doesn't redevelop. And that's where the solar insolation comes into play. It doesn't redevelop because the conditions are not the same as they were in June and July. Those high pressure ridges are a result of several variables. One of them has to do with the intense solar insolation at the North Pole. The fact that the temperature contrast is so little between up north and down here due to the intense solar insolation up there decreases the jet stream's strength. That allows these high pressure ridges to build. That's one reason why they build. But once they're destroyed, it's difficult to get it going again. Very difficult. In fact, they don't really get going again. But here's the thing. So we had a high pressure ridge which dominated the southern plains. Then a tropical rainmaker came into southern Texas. It pushed the high pressure ridge into the Pacific Northwest, but it weakened. So it seemed like that brought the phase of summer, the midsummer phase, to an end, and perhaps it did. But we have right now this heat wave, this high pressure ridge in the Pacific Northwest, in the desert Southwest as well. They're seeing temperatures that were just the monsoon didn't allow for these temperatures to get so high. You have cities where temperatures are going up to 118 degrees in September, and just the humidity didn't allow for these things to happen a month ago. And sure enough, we do have a tropical system, which is we have K. That's the name of the system, K. It's headed into Mexico. It's borderline tropical storm hurricane, and it will weaken this high pressure ridge, almost destroy it, because it sends copious moisture. It sends clouds. Clouds are the main thing in this one. You have clouds and the winds, the clouds, things change. The heat goes down. The high pressure ridge falls apart. But forecasters say that it's gonna rebound. This high pressure ridge is not going to fall apart and say goodbye until next summer. This is gonna rebound, and the system might even be stronger. It comes back after K moves through, after that weakening happens next week. The high pressure ridge, forecasters think that it's going to gather strength and rebound, perhaps even stronger next week than what it was this week. So it's going to take something else to bring the heat to an end. As long as you have the high pressure ridge out there bringing the intense heat, the potential exists for it to come over here into the Midwest. Although this time around, the heat just doesn't seem to be making it here. But outside of that, outside of domes of heat, besides the domes of heat, the summer weather pattern continues. Cold air is blocked off from coming into this country. Now, the reason for that, forecasters blame the low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska. That's a major variable, perhaps the main variable, in what's blocking the cold air, any cool air from coming down from Canada, especially for the West Coast, and that's been pretty dominant in recent times. Therefore, we have a little while to go before we're actually going to experience any type of serious fall weather. The indicator to that is dew points. That's how we're going to measure whether a real fall air mass has developed here in the Midwest. If you look at those dew points, and the forecast dew points can remain in the low 60s. So right now we're in an in-between phase right now. For many locations, they may not be able to tell the difference. Some areas, they never really experienced the heat domes in the first place. But other areas have, in those places, such as St. Louis, Missouri, any area in the Southern Plains, there's no cool air coming down from Canada, but at the same time, the heat domes are staying off to the west coast. That's where the high pressure ridge is. So that intense heat that was around, the extended spell of triple-digit heat is not there. But there will be likely a return of triple-digit heat even into Dallas, Texas. The question is, will it be an extended spell? We already have triple-digit heat returning to the plains already now. Already by Wednesday and Thursday, we have triple-digit heat headed into Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, perhaps. We have extreme heat, but then it goes away. So what we have right now is that middle phase. We have not hit a fall air mass yet. And whether that in real intense heat becomes stationary over this area, that would be a true rarity, perhaps unprecedented. But you have to realize one other thing. This is something that meteorologist Tom Skilling points out, that hurricanes, although they suck down cool air from Canada, but if you are at a certain angle, there's a certain area away from the hurricane, which there's tremendous sinking air, compressional warming occurs, and temperatures actually go way, way up. So you have these short little extended spells of temperatures well into the 90s for places in the Midwest. Sometimes it's a September version where the dew points are significantly lower, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But the desert Southwest, you can't even tell that it's fall. You can't even tell that it's fall, even in the Pacific Northwest. And people, it feels more like June, I would say, for people in the Midwest, as we don't see really any intense heat. Although you go up north, we do find some intense heat over in the plains. The dew points remain pretty high, not uncomfortably high, but high enough to exclude any air from Canada, to exclude any fall, to say this is a fall air mass, we cannot do. The dew points around here in Chicago, St. Louis, Missouri remain at 60 or higher. There might be a short period of time where dew points do drop into the 50s. Water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are warmer than usual. Many locations 86 degrees or higher. I was not aware that that's normal than usual. I would have thought that that's normal. In fact, I would have thought upper 80s is normal. When you go off the coast of Florida, we do find ocean water temperatures in the upper 80s. In fact, I think it was Tampa where the water temperatures are at 92 degrees. So that's Persian Gulf stuff already. And any type of hurricane or storm system that should take that path is going to really blow up in that area. Hurricane season has been very, very slow to start. We had a hurricane drought that went well beyond 317 days. But with Danielle, that drought has ended. Most locations right now in the middle of the country actually have beautiful weather, and that's what's in the forecast. Those places which are going to have to go through heat, it will be followed immediately by absolutely beautiful weather. We do have drought conditions which have occurred for some time in the New England area are being reduced. In fact, flooding is occurring in those locations. We also have flooding occurring in Georgia. We also have in London. London might be seeing some very strong thunderstorms, but more information is needed on that because mainstream forecasters are not mentioning it in their forecast. But the Weather Bureau over there has issued a yellow warning for thunderstorms, and from their description, it sounds very similar to severe storms, what we get here in the Midwest. Thank you for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed. Have a wonderful weekend, the rest of the weekend, and a wonderful week.